Hey patrons, welcome back again. Neil here with Real Terrain Hobbies, and welcome back to all you $5 tier guys and the $10 tier guys. I just got to talk to you just a week ago, but it's been 2 weeks since I saw you or spoken to you $5 guys. So here we are again. So since you last saw, there was quite a bit to do. This was not attached, nothing was attached onto the stone. I now have everything fastened, blended in, and painted, and that has turned out amazingly well, like better than I could have hoped for. Quick note on painting the DAS clay. It is very porous, almost just as porous as the plaster itself. The clay is kind of, it's got a lot of paper fibers in there, so almost kind of like toilet paper or Kleenex mixed in with plaster kind of thing is what it seems to be like. So when you go to carve it out, you can see all those fibers in there. Like a few places I didn't, when I was first rolling it out and first experimenting with my roller, I didn't have as much detail as I would have liked in there, but going in afterwards with just some of my sculpting tools, I got some carving tools here too. You're actually able to sculpt out those stones, or carve them out anyway, kind of the depth in between the stones, the mortar in there, get some more depth put in there after the fact. So if you are going to be doing this technique and you're some spots it turns out a little flat with your texture, don't worry, you can get in there afterwards and carve some of that out. But yeah, so the DAS itself soaks up the paint really well. So I'm doing mostly washes on there, some light washes, not super heavily saturated with paint. And I used some grays and some browns and some black. The black for staining and is really good for weathering. And I also used, I'll show you in a second here, I used some pigments, and those pigments have been really amazing. I got the idea to use pigments from Luke Towan. I'm sure many of you know his channel, but he likes to use those, and so I thought I'd give them a try, and man, they really do a great job on the weathering. And yeah, if you watched my latest video on YouTube, well, the one that I posted there for you guys early, man, this table is getting squeaky. Whenever I even just going to paint on here, it's just getting out of hand. So I think I got another 3 weeks, three to 4 weeks in that desk, or that table, that workbench should be ready. So I'm really looking forward to that. But let me spin this around. I got this tower. It's not completely, I got to put it, I do have what I'm trying to say is I got a magnet in there. So it's magnetized, but all I got is a little screw on the top right now it's not strong enough. So I'm either going to put another couple screws in for the magnet to stick to, or put another magnet in here itself. But this thing is strong. I don't know if you can see, probably not from there. It's stuck to this thing completely. No, it's hiding right behind the tower. How about if I do this? There, it's stuck. Can you see that? It's stuck right to the workbench. A strong magnet on that guy. So, and I got some smaller magnets on the way for the front here. Let me just spin this guy around. This shouldn't fall. It's strong enough that it shouldn't fall when I spin this. Anyway, so here we are with everything fastened and attached. And it is looking really good. I even managed to get some flocking on and some grass or some leafy tufts in there. More of that to do yet, in and around everything, but we'll get a close-up here in just a second. But this is turning out way cooler than I thought it was going to turn out. These doors I managed to get to blend in really well. I was worried about the plastic door frame. It's stone. But I was worried it takes the paint differently than the DAS clay does, so it doesn't absorb it as easily. So I was worried about kind of blending it into the clay, but those pigments, they give a really nice, if you got too much like that plasticky look where it's really shiny when you paint something, if you want to take that sheen away, that glossy sheen to make it look less plasticky and more like stone and rock, use those pigments. They are awesome. They just dull things and mute them right down, make it a nice matte finish. and they do a ton for when you're painting to make things look nice and realistic. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see well that far away how everything's blended in. This still isn't attached yet, but yeah, I got my interior more or less done. I just need to do the ladder. I'm going to be using some metal for the ladders. I'm going with ladders. I mentioned in last week's video instead of steps, because I think steps are just going to take up too much space. There's less space in here than I kind of ended up thinking there would be. So I'll put this in here, and then we'll take a close-up look at this. I'm going to use some metal wire, my metal wire that I used for my doors, if you ever watched my door video, for the handles on that and hinges. I'll be using that stuff with some JB Weld glue, and that is specifically for metal. It's a glue for metal, so it's like welding basically with just glue. Super easy. So I'll be doing that, and I'm going to put some curls and things there, hopefully fancying them up a little bit. But yeah, let's get in closer now here for you. Maybe I'll just set the camera up there and come sit down again, and I can point some things out and you can see exactly how I blended things in and painted things and just how it all looks all together. Super happy with that. So let's jump on in. Oh, and as far as things that need to get done yet, I got a little hatch at the top here of the tower that I need to, I'm just going to drill out some holes in the clay and then frame out a little hatch door for him, the wizard guy, to crawl up and down in with a ladder or steps. You won't be able to, maybe I'll throw some steps in there that you'll be able to just see as you look down. So we got that to do. Obviously the roofs are basically the final thing. I got to paint this guy, which won't take long. The seams that are going to be here, I'm going to cover up with some vines and brambles kind of on the sides. And if I have to, I'm going to apply some more clay kind of to both, and then see if I can just sort of snap it off. And then if the jagged edges will line up nice and tight to get rid of that seam. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the top of this yet. This is today's project. It's Saturday today, the 13th. I don't know if I'm going to make this a solid structure here or just have some posts kind of columns holding this roof up, and then you'll be able to see some more detail in there and have a telescope kind of up there for the wizard and whatever. So we'll see, but I got this to do today and these roofs to basically get the biggest things, the roofs and this, and then oh, and I'm going to extend the wave out here as well. Like I mentioned, I think that was the very first video that I mentioned that. If not, if it was just to the $10 patrons, I don't think it was. I think it was everybody. But I'm going to be extending this wave out anyway, like I did on the other side here to make it look more natural. So yeah, let's come on and jump on in and do a close-up of this guy. All right, so I'll start off by doing some behind the camera stuff, but as you can see, everything is attached and in place with the tower, continuing upwards with the main tower itself. Here we are way up here. So there's our roof. Let's go right nice and close in. So I'm not sure what to do about this guy. I think I might just have it sit up on some posts and then sort of have everything open to the elements like I'd mentioned before. I think that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm not sure if I like these tiles so much. I'd really like to find something else and maybe go with some actual wood for those. So I might actually pick something up in the city today. I'm just out of town, 10 minutes out of the city, in a little smaller community. But anyway, that's information you probably could care less about. But so yeah, anyway, I'm going to be picking some stuff up for that. Let's get in close with everything here. So there's our paint job, and this was pretty simple to paint. Wasn't too bad. Oh, and I mentioned, you'll see that I took off the, what do you call them? The ramparts, these things here, and I think I'm going to be putting them back on. Where are those? There's a couple of them. I'm going to make some new ones that look better, but I ended up taking those off and shaving this down. I mentioned this in last week's video to the other guys, to Lawrence and Daffy. But I took that off because it was really warped all the way around here. This is when I was still pretty nervous with the DAS clay, and I was just concerned about getting it on rather than really taking my time with it. I was worried about it drying out. But for the clay, if it starts to dry out on you, all you do is take a brush like this, dip it in some water, and brush some water on it, and you can work with it as long as you need to. Even when it's completely dried out, you can reactivate the stuff and work with it again. So I was just really nervous working with it. I was just trying to get it on there, and it ended up doing some of that. So anyway, I took these off, shaved it down, and made it, and used a big flat sander and sanded off the top to make it look nice and smooth. But I'll be putting some of these back on again, probably not these ones in particular. Again, these looked really kind of clay-like. They were not nice, symmetrical stone squares. They really looked clay and had a lot of warping to them and stuff. So I'll be throwing those back on, I think. So yeah, that is that. Let's continue downwards. So we'll be painting this obviously right away. Let's take the cover off so you can get a look inside. So here we are on the inside. Here's Mr. Gandalf for scale, and I'm gonna have to bring a light around, I think, so you can see better in there. So here's our interior, and I might just actually, you can kind of see in there pretty well. So yeah, here's my ladder. Let me fix that. That's not exactly how this is going to be spun around on me. There, something like that. So there we are with the ladder, you can see, and I'll have another one going up to the upper level as well. So this is it. My interior turned out, it was pretty easy to do, wasn't too bad at all. So that is the interior there. And then moving along, you can see where we've attached things to overall to the stone structure. And things are looking really good, really nice. You can see how I blended in these doors to the painting. I'm gonna add some, a little bit of moss in around these doors as well. But let's leave it there. I'm just gonna spin this around so we can get a nice look at everything. I'll spin this so you can look at where I did some flocking and things there too. So yeah, it all turned out really well. I'm really pleased, really happy. I'll do a little bit more blending with the flocking. Maybe put some more moss inside the steps a little bit. We don't want to go too far down because the salt water would, realistically, if we want to be somewhat realistic with this, the salt water would kill the stuff, but a little higher up, why not? And yeah, so this is just where I've blended everything in. Again, I'll be doing some vines and brambles, more moss, more. I'm not going to overdo it with the flocking and with the vegetation. Just some nice accents. Like this is probably where the majority of it will be, but I'll throw some more in, kind of up in these crevices and cracks and stuff like that too. So there it is. So then yeah, this area here I'm going to work on with another wave. I'm going to pour that right away. And so that'll be ready to flex in a little bit here, but there she is. Quite happy with this. This is a pretty cool build. And I mentioned last week to Lawrence and Daffy, but I'm going to be having some wood where this is here, just propping this up in there, a couple spots just to make it look like they attempted to keep it together, and it's a wizard tower too, so obviously the wizard will have his magic kind of over everything, holding it all together, even though, you know, so it's not completely, it's fantasy, so don't get too technical about how things are, if there are any engineers out there. So yeah, I think this is a little dark actually. Let me make this a tad brighter. So here we are, that's it. This is where I'm at. And oh yeah, I got some Liquitex, more Liquitex back here. How I've got the Liquitex gel on for making some. So yeah, you can see how the water's more rough, and then all of a sudden up here it's quite smooth. Let me back up. It's not super smooth, obviously, with the white water in that, but it's like, say, here and back over here. We just got to get some micro kind of waves in there. Back there, it's super smooth. I might actually do some more white water inside of here too. But yeah, so that's what we got left to do. I should be able to get most of this done pretty quickly here, and I'm already started on the editing, so that is awesome. Next up, we're going to work on the tavern, get that done, get that finished. I'm excited to have that. I'm excited to get back to that, actually. It was kind of burning me out there for a while. I thought I was going to be able to make that a lot quicker than I was, and it seemed to be just stalling the channel with that thing. So that's why I moved on to a couple of these other builds. And yeah, here, let's just bring this back so I can sit back down in my chair. And yeah, I don't know. Here, I'll sit back in the chair. Yeah. So I don't think there's too much more to say about this. So I got some, yeah, I'd spin this around more this way. I don't know if you saw too much on this back end here. I'll spin it all the way around. So they're gonna have, like in here, I'll have more of the flocking and tufts and whatnot in there. And oh yeah, so I was gonna say I've got some a little bit more detail to put in with some clay right about here. Like, whoop, there goes my roof. Again, something there to have this magnet really stick to that. You can see it's, hopefully that's in the shot over here maybe. Yeah, that's gonna stick nicely on there once we get something more there. For that, so some detail work there with the clay, some detail work maybe at the bottom of the bridge here for some supports there. And yeah, that should be about it, the roofs. And we'll call this project done. We'll get it edited as fast as I can. I'm getting faster with editing. I am getting a little faster, but still, I just need to, I would really like to get that off my plate. And here's an inside note. I'm thinking of, I've been watching a lot of other YouTubers out there, and some guys, when they first started, they even just had an ad out for an internship for people to come, or younger guys who are sort of familiar with the editing software but have a super good work ethic. I'd put out a notice for people to apply for an internship for, let's say, the summer, to do this for free. And hopefully it'll get enough videos flowing quickly enough, we can get to that point where it can start bringing in some more income. I can contact some brands and get this, keeping things steady, especially bigger builds, my bigger jobs, keep these steady where I can really just focus on making these. And but yeah, do something. I'd still have to take a little bit of time to teach the individual how to use the software. Maybe that's kind of what they'll get out of the internship, on top of hopefully getting a paying position with me later on. But just the experience, and I think a lot of younger people would be excited for that and want to hopefully show some enthusiasm and want to try out something like that, and then hopefully get a paying job through that. Anyway, just thoughts, just who knows, I'm totally new to this, having paying somebody to do things like that for me. It's completely new. So it's all going to be a learning experience, but yeah, so anyway, there's that. Let's spin this around one more time. And yeah, hopefully next week you'll see the finished product, and I'll have maybe, well, 2 weeks from now anyway, for you guys, I'll be, I'm sure, back onto the tavern as far as working on this goes. But I'm also going to be spending, once this is done, I'm going to be focusing a ton of time on the editing, but I'm going to be doing some stuff to deliver content to you. I'm not just going to abandon this because this is what you're at, what's going on with at my desk. is what you guys are interested in. So anyway, I can hear my kids and their friends coming downstairs, so I think it's time to wrap this up before they get too crazy and get themselves in trouble and I get all worked up. Okay, so see you next week, guys. Thanks so much again for supporting me in the channel, and we'll talk to you, Lawrence and Daffy, next week, and the rest of you guys, I'll talk to you 2 weeks from now. Okay, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye.